makes sense that they weren't alone. The air in the house seemed heavy, oppressive, as if it carried the weight of some unseen force.
Oh,
As
yeah.
they unpacked, they discovered remnants of the building's past, strange equipment in the basement, a mortuary table, and an odd drainage system. It was then that the family learned the house had once been a funeral home. The basement had been used to prepare bodies for burial, a fact that would take on new significance in the coming weeks. It started small, as these things often do. Strange sounds echoed through the house, whispers that seemed to come from the walls, footsteps pacing the floors late at night. Lights would flicker for no reason, even though the wiring in the house had been recently updated. And then there were the cold spots. The family would walk from room to room and suddenly feel an icy chill, as though they had stepped into the heart of winter. These cold spots had no logical explanation. The heating system worked fine, and the drafts that sometimes came through the windows weren't enough to account for the sudden drop in temperature. But still, they brushed these things aside. It was an old house after all. Old houses had quirks. But soon the activity became harder to ignore. Philip, already weakened by his illness, began to experience something far more sinister. He told his parents about strange figures he could see moving through the house. Shadowy forms that would appear and disappear in the blink of an eye. At first, his parents attributed it to the stress of his illness and the powerful medications he was taking. But Philip was adamant. These weren't hallucinations. There were people in the house, and they weren't alive. As the days passed, Philip's behavior began to change. The once mild-mannered boy grew
Junior,
angry and violent,
están
lashing out
haciendo
at
ahí.
his siblings and parents. He would spend hours
Junior,
alone,
yo pensé que estaba sacando un papá.
muttering to
¿Qué quiere?
himself in a
¿Qué
voice
quiere?
that didn't seem like his own.
¿Quieres comer algo?
The family grew
¿Quieres
increasingly
hambre?
alarmed, especially as the
¿Qué
strange
quieres?
occurrences in the house intensified.
¿Cereal?
Doors would slam shut on
¿Quieres
their own.
sopita?
Objects would be
¿Quieres
found
sopita?
moved
¿Quieres?
from one room to another, and a
¿Qué?
foul
¿Qué?
odor, like rotting flesh, would occasionally fill the
Oh,
air.
entonces solo de palomitas.
Philip's condition worsened. He claimed
Ya le
that the
comí
figures were
comida.
becoming more aggressive. They would whisper to him, telling him terrible things, filling his head
Ahorita en la
with
noche
violent
no.
thoughts.
En
He
la
spoke
noche
of
no
being
puedes
held
comer
down by
palomitas.
unseen hands,
¿Quieres
unable to
una fruta?
move
¿Una
or
pera? ¿Un
breathe.
platanito?
And then, one night,
Y yo
as the
estoy
family was
enojado
gathered
contigo.
in the living room, they heard a loud
Yo
crash
estoy
from
enojado
Philip's room.
contigo.
Rushing upstairs, they found him thrashing on his bed, his
Estoy
eyes
enojado
wild
contigo.
with terror. His bed, they would later report, had been levitating several inches off the floor. Fearing for their son's safety, the Snedeekers sought help. They turned to doctors, hoping that there might be a medical explanation for Philip's
Palomitas no, lo que
increasingly
sea de
erratic
fruta
behavior.
o algo
But the
cereal, pero
doctors could
palomitas
find
no.
nothing physically wrong
Te
with
hago
him.
mañana en el
His
día, pero
cancer
ya en la
treatments,
noche
though
ya no.
difficult, were not known to cause the kind of psychological symptoms he was experiencing. Desperate, the family contacted their pastor, who
¿Quieres
suggested
una
that the
fruta?
house itself
Vamos por
might
una
be
pera o un
the
plátano,
problem.
manzana.
He mentioned the possibility of a haunting, a
Todo
notion
te
that
lo
the
digo.
family had been reluctant to entertain. But as the strange occurrences continued, they began to wonder if there might be some truth to it.
A ver.
Philip's condition became so severe that he was eventually removed from the home and placed in a hospital for observation.
Yo no te los uñas.
Meanwhile, the rest of the family
Ayúdame a cortar.
continued to experience terrifying phenomena.
Mira,
Carmen, Philip's mother, reported feeling as though
¿le
she were
trago una
being
cara?
touched by invisible hands,
Sí.
sometimes gently, but other times with a force that left bruises on her skin. Alan, the father, claimed that he
Corre,
would
te
wake
doy
up
unas
in the
nalgadas
middle of the
también.
night to
¿Tienes?
find
¿Usamos
dark
una alcohol?
figures standing at the foot of his
¿Quieres
bed, their
casado otra vez?
eyes glowing in the
¿Eh?
darkness. The situation was becoming
Ay,
unbearable.
Junior.
The
Vamos
family
para abajo, te
feared
van
for
a
their
nalguear ahorita.
lives and the lives of
¡Corre!
their children. It was then that they
¿Vos
decided to
tenías más
reach out
ganas
to
de
a
hacer
man
popó?
in
¿Por qué no te
Marine
quedaste
Corps.
haciendo popó?
you for watching.